Yo, what's up guys, the Insane King Freak here to bring you a Durarara Season 2 episode review. I guess I'm going to start doing these now because for one, these won't really get tiresome because Durarara is one of those series that kind of maintains its interest level throughout the entire season. Plus that, this is being split up into 3 sections, so I believe we're getting 10 episodes this season and I think 10 episodes in the summer season, and then we're getting another 10 episodes in the winter, is it the fall or winter season? But they're not going to be all at once. So it's kind of like you kind of get an arc, probably dissipates, get another arc, dissipates. So it's cool. Anyways, tell me how you guys like this stuff. If you want more episode reviews or of this or not. And, you know, I'll probably leave the like goal for this kind of low. So I'll say about 50. So if this gets about 50 to 60 likes, then I know it's interesting enough for you to keep. So for you guys to keep coming back. So if you want more Durarara Season 2 episode reviews, I'm going to use that as kind of a filter now as a way of gauging the engagement of this kind of stuff. Anyway, Season 2. Now, I've been looking forward to this, especially when you have friends on Facebook who want to fanboy and say, yo, you get excited for this character, and this character, and this character, and you should read the light novels. And then, you know, side note, Young Press comes out and says, oh yeah, we licensed the light novels for Durarara, so. And you're just like, But anyways, let's talk about the first episode of Season 2. It's pretty much Durarara fare. To me, it felt more like an introduction episode. It actually almost correlated with the first episode the same way. You have your introduction of some characters. To me personally, this episode was more based around Celty than anything. So you're showing off characters all over the place. Not really getting into actually, most of them don't get any detail except for like Amelia. And that's only because of her relation to Celty. Everyone else is just kind of like, here's a character, here's a character, here's a character, here's a character. Here's some slight tidbits. And some of them are just walking around. The episode, and we get to see almost everybody. I mean, we get to see Walter, Erica, Donichi. I forget the dude who's driving the van. Mikado, Henri. We even get to see Masaomi, Mika, Izaya, Seiji, Mika. If I say Mika twice, I'm dumb. Seiji's sister. We even get to see Izaya's sisters, Ioba, who I don't technically know yet. I only know because everyone keeps, my friend Taco News Source keeps fanboying about him and just all the other characters, so I only know his name through that. Technically, we haven't been introduced to him, but he's the guy at the end when you see Mikado and Henri running to see Celty driving by. He's the kid that they focus on for a second, walking around the corner looking over. That's Ioba. Once again, I don't know too much about him. We also get to see Shizuo's younger brother and his manager. That was interesting. And then they also introduced, I don't know if it's a new gang, but I think it's a new gang. The one that's chasing Celty at the end of the episode, which is, I don't know their name, but I'm going to call them White Tigers because it looks like they're rocking like these white outfits with like stripes on them. So I'm going to say White Tiger. The only really new tidbits we get in this episode is that Shinra's father is married to a girl named Amelia, and Amelia is a real big fan of hanging around Celty and whatnot. Apparently they had this kind of unspoken written agreement that if they let them look at her body for research, then she will pay them money. So, and that's essentially what happens. That's the only new thing we learned. Everything else is just kind of talking about the situations. We even have our own little murder case for this one, kind of like how it was in the first season with the whole kidnapping of young girls and shit. Izaya, from what I've been hearing, doesn't play a huge role in the second season, which some people might be disappointed about. But we have our own murderer for this one, which is named Hollywood. I think that's coined by the internet and Walter and Erica. That's how we find out. Who is a dude who runs around killing people in these really gruesome ways, rocking weird ass masks. I think, what was it? One of them was a sea creature. One of them is like a horse head, which I don't know. No, it wasn't a horse head. It was a I don't remember what it was. I want to say a horse head because of internet memes. There's also a lot of anime references with Walter and Erica. I think you heard a Sword Art Online reference, a Black Bullet reference. There's a lot of references. But as I said, the most of the episode kind of focuses on Celty because it's like, and it does the same thing. It's the same Durarara style where it jumps around a bit. Like Durarara Season 2 technically takes place 6 months after Durarara Season 1, so not much time has passed. Masaomi's still with Mika, and they're kind of doing their own thing. And then you have, you know, Henri and Mikado are kind of just doing, you know, going by the day and day. We see Simone in this episode, but we don't really hear him talk. We know that Celtie's still scared of the cops. And apparently by the end of the episode, we learned that there's some type of bounty on her head, I guess, because there's like this, like at the end of the episode, she was originally running away from the cop and the news crew and the news guys, and then like after that happened, she's like, fuck, I'll drop the money, because she got paid for the whole, because it was so weird. The way they introduced Amelia was like her rubbing Celtie's naked body on a fucking table. And then they go back and explain in the flashback that the cool scene at the end of season 1 where she's seducing Shinra, like there's a scene right after that where Amelia comes in, and I swear to God, if anything, I love Celtie and Shinra as a couple because it is so blatantly obvious she's so into him. I mean, it's not like it was hidden in the first season, especially by the end of it, but you know, that's just something I brought up. The dollars are still active from what I understand, which would make sense because that's Mikado. Saiga just doesn't seem to be relevant, which I didn't think it would be because that whole conundrum is going to be a bitch in itself. And the other thing I thought was interesting is because the episode, there's not really too much to talk about the episode per se because nothing really happens. As I said, you're just getting a whole bunch of introductions, a whole bunch of you get to see characters' faces, but you don't really get to learn anything about them. Like we get the scene with Shizuo's brother's manager, but we don't really know anything about him. We know some things, that he's like he's a fan of America. He wants to go to Ikebukuro and all this other shit, but like nothing too substantial. We do get to see a scene with Izaya's sisters, which is all but one of them's super hyper, one of them's really mellow. Nothing really too interesting there. I thought the Celtic scenes were probably the best thing out of the first episode because they're fucking adorable. And I guess I should quickly explain the appeal of Durarara. The thing I'm going to love about this, and the reason why I love the first season so much, was because you couldn't get shit. The best thing about Durarara is the unpredictability of it all. And then from the next episode preview, the thing that stuck out in my mind in that preview was, oh look, there's a character fighting zombies. And I'm like, bruh, we're done. It's going to be great. Also, we're going to get some Aoba and I guess Aoba's formal introduction. Because of the way Durarara's structured, I bet we're going to get a flashback because Mikado mentions how he wanted Armin to come with him to show a new student around town because one of the new kids asked him to show him around town. It's probably Aoba who asked, and so we'll probably get the flashback to show Aoba asking Mikado, can you show me around town? And we'll probably just jump back and forth. That was the only thing about Durarara that's kind of confusing. You jump back and forth within like short periods of time. So like you'll jump back six months, and then you'll jump back into the present, and then you'll jump back like earlier that day, and then jump forward into later that day. It gets really convoluted. It's ridiculous. Also, cool thing, I didn't know that Celtic can make clones. I don't know how many abilities she actually has, but I didn't know she could make clones of herself when she evaded the news crew and the police that she's afraid of. But first episode was pretty interesting. I'm intrigued, and also a cool thing. If you want to watch season 2, Crunchyroll and Aniplex of America, honestly, were cool enough to be like, hey, guess what, guys? We will release the entire dub of the first season on Crunchyroll for free. So you can now watch the entire series in English, which might be kind of jarring for you if you want to watch the second season right after, because obviously the second season isn't dubbed yet. So it's like, I would suggest, me personally, I watched the dub first, but I would suggest personally, the dub was really good for me. But in terms of watching it with the season, I would watch the sub version first and then watch season 2 as it's airing, and then maybe casually go back and rewatch the dub, because Crunchyroll now has all of it. It has the first season in English and Japanese, and you know, the second season as it's airing, which all of it's free except for the first episode of season 2, which right now, because of the Crunchyroll thing, you can't really watch until a week later, which by that point episode 2 will be out. But I'll leave a link in the description if you do want to catch up and watch this with me. As I said, if this thing gets 50 to 60 likes, then we will continue this for next Saturday and look forward to these episode reviews. But just let me know. I want to see how much you're engaged, and I might boost up the like thing depending on how well this first one does. Anyways, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Personally, right now, I'm super hyped. I'm looking forward to this. Zombies, bruh. zombies and Hollywood murderers. Things get always interesting in the town of Ikebukuro. Hopefully I get to see more Simo in this second season too, because they kind of hinted to him being more than what he seems, and I'm curious, especially with the ridiculous amount of cast of characters we're getting introduced to. But I think this first section is going to have to deal with Aoba and Izaya's sisters from what I've been hearing. Anyways, this has been the Insane Game Freak. Life's a game, play to win, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.